You're listening to Industry Talks on Design in Focus, a new multimedia channel serving CID. CID, Creative, Innovation and Design. Listen to representatives, practitioners and leaders on topics like industry development, skills, methods, movements, tools, concepts, projects, events, and much more. Hi, and welcome to Industry Talks on Design and Focus. Today I'm speaking to Ricardo Faria, UX and Service Designer from Cognizant. Hey Ricardo, how are you?
Good, and you guys?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you start by telling us a little bit more about yourself and your journey into UX and service design?
Yes, definitely. My background is in multimedia engineering. So I started from there, and then slightly I started to manage some teams. I moved countries. I work in banking, streaming omni-channel solutions, and in the middle of this, I'll lead in teams and do UX. I did a business innovation. This is where I feel the need also to go to KPIs and to start to measure more, because research and testing and UX tells you the data, but then you want to also be smart with the data or before you set up that data.
All right. So, can you tell us a little bit more about KPIs and how you use that in design?
Yeah. So, as a ROKS expert in KPIs, I've been seeing the design process from the double diamond or different approaches you have. You always go to identify the problem, but before you come to ideation and the solution, it's always missed that step before, which is called strategy. And before that strategy, you need to define what you want to measure, what is important for the business to measure, what they want to achieve, what metrics. And if you don't do that before, you can have a good solution, but you are missing what exactly is the connection between what the company wants to measure and achieve. So you are doing a solution that has any value. You're going to finish, going to go live, probably it's going to be a beautiful design, but in the end, it's not connected to what is the objectives and short, long, medium term of the company. So you really need to spend time to engage with your stakeholders, understand what is important for them, what they want to achieve, what is their objectives, then connect the right metrics, and then you can, even after that, you can start think about solution before. So that helps you in all phases in design.
All right. I think from the little that I know about KPIs is that you have 4 main types. So the leading and the lagging and the...
Generally, when you do the process of the ROKS, is 2 main points you need to think about. Again, is the engaging parts and set up the stage before you even start to define KPIs. You spoke about leading and lagging indicators. Yes. So you read all the documentation with stakeholders, you understand what situation they are, what they struggle, what they want to achieve. You go to different product KPIs, you can go to industry KPIs, you can go to mandatory KPIs, you can go to different KPIs for different departments. And then you make a called long list KPI. So generally we use a KPI tree, which is a huge tree where you have different levels. And here it's important you know already the objectives, because the objective generally is like an objective key result, UKI. Top level, then you need to go by down until to the KPI. So you have your top level is something you want to achieve in super long term. But then you need to go to the sub-tactic until to the end, and everything will be connected. And I give an example. You want to be healthy, but how you do it? You need to sleep better. You need to cut your habits. To cut your habits, you need to be more disciplined the way you eat. How are you gonna measure that? The type of calories you take per day. And this is connected to the first, which is be healthy. Be healthy is not measurable yet. It's high level. So this is what we need to do And when you start to go from super high level, I want to be the leading in the market. You need to break down.
Yeah.
And when you break down, you're going to find yourself with a list of 30 KPIs, 40.
Yeah.
This is a long listing.
Yeah.
Then you short them, and then you go by leading. Leading indicators is basically what tells your business is actually performing well.
Yeah.
It's the bone of your business. If this is right, means your business is healthy, is in the right way.
Yeah.
Lagging is important, but not so leading.
All right. The idea that I got was that lagging has more. It's more demonstrable. With leading, it's more. It's not so tangible. Is that correct, or did I get it wrong?
No. You're right. You're right. That's true. You need to think leading. Let's say, looking at overall of your business, you identify 5 KPIs.
Yeah.
But you want to sell ice cream, the ice cream shop, and your lead indicator is how much money you do per month related to your competitors.
Yeah.
And if you start to do more, that is a lead indicator, then you will actually perform better.
Yeah.
It means your business is actually doing good.
Because you also measure different levels of the business,
Yeah. You can. This is why it's always healthy to have more, not a huge dashboard, but this is why it's like product KPIs or even when you go to production.
Yeah.
It's something in your process, which is process KPIs. 2 KPIs then tells your process of your company is really doing smartly and well.
Yeah.
You can measure them.
Yeah.
Then you can go to legal. You want to measure 2 legal mandatory. So by law, you need to do them.
Yeah.
It's a healthy check to know, okay, we are doing like we should do in terms of legal.
Yeah.
And then you can spread out the dashboard with different areas of your company. So you can measure how your company in 360 is doing.
Yeah.
But then you have that one, can be a financial, can be any KPI that tells you what you want to follow.
Yeah.
To see your company is doing great.
Yeah. So, well, of course, I think just about any business person knows the value of KPIs, and, industry is sort of driven by that.
Yeah.
But from a design perspective, which is more intuitive and not always directly business related, it is, but I think you know what I mean, right? Yeah. From a design perspective, what is the best way to use KPIs and set them up, and what should you consider when creating these KPIs?
Yeah. With everything you have from your clients, just go because you'll be surprised the quantity of things your client already did. Just look at documentation.
Yeah.
They probably already did this job, so you don't need to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And then match the language they have to the right language for KPIs to be measurable, tangible. Put the language, because companies tend to do, we want to be exceptional. Exceptional, you don't measure.
Yeah.
So you need to turn around this language to something more concrete, something more measurable.
Yeah.
So this is the work you need to do initially.
Yeah.
When you do that, you are in a good way. Then have a workshop with your client. Help them to educate them to make that initial objectives they have to much more concrete. Put them in with your KPIs and key results, or something they want to achieve, like a specific goal, or the next 3 months I want a 10% increase in conversion rates, for example. And then start to build your tree. Start to have a full view of what the business is, and if you need to have different meetings with different parts of the company, do it. So you can complement that tree.
Yeah.
And then when you have everything together, then you start to measure. This is important. You start any project to have an idea how much, okay, this is what situation point is. This is strategic direction they want. And this is how can I measure this strategic direction.
Yeah.
Okay, from here, I'm going to join our visual design team or our user experience team, and let's just start to design a solution that is connected with these 2 KPIs we defined before.
Yeah.
So if I do this solution for my clients, can be app, can be anything. My key performance indicators that tells me my solution actually has impact in the business are connected with 2 KPIs from the 10 KPIs we defined before, and I will measure monthly, bi-weekly in the KPI dashboard we set up. And this you can show your client is a type of return of investment. See what we did actually is increasing 5% this month in relation to the previous month.
Yeah.
So the solution we offer to you or we design or build is actually increasing X number of revenue in next 2 years. You can just make a formula, but you can't do that if you don't define nothing before. So this is why it's important.
I think you can sort of build a case or collect enough evidence to build support for topics that you address with the user, and that's quite valuable. But then again, the challenge with humans are that we're very unique in many ways. We're very much similar in many ways, but we're unique in many ways. And so, having quantitative KPIs also makes sense, right? Because you can't measure that in the same way that you measure.
You can't, but you create some type of expectation and some curiosity in stakeholders. Because if you tell this is the why, how much the pattern we notice in this data, that came direct from KPIs, and you can measure this with a business analyst, so you can measure with your data team. Then they want to know the what, but then they want to know the why. And this is why then you can connect your research team or testing team just to do more testing to understand, okay, this is why this number or this increasing or this drop is happening. So actually the KPIs will trigger some research that will trigger more design and will trigger more is a cycle. And then we'll go back to the data and try to find patterns. This is a little bit like some companies like Booking.com and other companies that do micro A/B tests. And they found different atoms in that ecosystem, and each atom is like different tests, and they run multiple tests per week, and they wait for the results. That's the same thing, but you are not pushing A/B tests here. You are looking at a real live dashboard, and you just analyze that data, and then you go and understand why. So that is important because anything needs to be connected to a direction in the business, and we miss that. The business direction or business objective, generally it's a gap in design.
Definitely.
We as designers, we tend to go through human approach, user-centered design, but not business-centered. And this is missing because then how you can justify your decision or design decision based on what the user says should be the way, but then the business tell but what we win or what is the deal for us.
I think what I encounter often is this business mentality, and the mentality which sort of denotes human mentality, and it is hilarious to me. It is to me like talking to a child who thinks that they understand rocket science. People make business.
True.
It's the business is comprised of people. The customer is people. Everything is people related. So, the human being is central to all of our efforts. It really is, right? And then if you really look around you, we're in a place that's very designed. But even if you walk out on the street, so much of your environment has been designed, has been created, so it's design has, to an extent, or creativity production has a larger pull in business than strategy. I mean, I love strategy, but it's such a small part.
It is.
I think when you look at the environment here, Cognizant has spent some significant sums to make it visually appealing, and there's probably a reason for that. How do you perform as an employee in a place as inspiring as this?
We tend, as humans, our brain has a lot of biases, so we act by biases.
Yeah,
and everything is everything you see and everything you consume every day is a bias.
Yeah.
So the KPIs trigger people too. The fact, and this is the magic, is the numbers generally trigger stakeholders to have decisions.
Yeah.
So you need to play with that. So really you need to be empathetic.
Yeah.
I think is what sometimes
exactly.
miss. If we are not empathetic with our stakeholders and the main leadership, to really understand what is their struggle, what they really want, instead of before coming conflict, and just keep your idea because you are the expert, because that is not right to go. You really need to sit on the table with them, open the discussion, listen, make your notes, mental notes, repeat, reform, effective communication, active listening, and just connect the dots, make your puzzle, and then find out exactly what they want. And this is your starting point. We have generally like an engagement workshop where exactly is for that. You let them speak, you throw some questions, and you wait for them to come to you. And this is the starting point you need to do. Design and business need to connect.
I think most business offer solutions. That's the reason why businesses exist for the main extent. And the only ones requiring these solutions are people. So, being people-centric is just logical if you run a business. I think what I've seen is that there are people who get an idea of business based on popular propaganda not as much as actually seeing and understanding what business is all about. So the reason why we created business is like, you've got 5 cows and I have a whole land of corn. I want a cow, you want some corn. Let's do business. That's
it's an exchange of value.
It's an exchange of value, and people determine what value is.
The thing is, you make the business to generate some value. That what it generates needs to serve a purpose. You ask, the purpose is your user or your who is consuming your products. But then you also need to have something in return. So is these two, you need to connect well. Because it's no point of business to generate a lot of value for the user, but is actually as a business, they are actually having a hard time because they are not generate the right profit for them. So how can you balance that? It's really to be realistic about your situation now, where you want to go in the future, set up that strategy. And the best way to do it's like you go to a submarine and you go below the water and you don't have any radar and you just go, you on your luck. And then you're going to beat something because you didn't predict before, right? Will be much better to have all the system working and you can just predict where you go. You can just set up all the systems and you can just spot on before. But even if you don't know exactly where you go, at least you have a plan.
Exactly.
And that plan misses a lot in companies. They know where to go. Definitely dreamers, but they don't have a realistic plan. So how are you going to achieve that?
Exactly. Or, they place value on it because they find it within a niche group. And it's only their group who finds it valuable, and their group, they're already paying for it, but it's not enough to sustain it. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Talking about knowing how to make your business real or achieving your goals. A lot of the newer generations, especially Gen Z and millennials, they find value in different ways, and it impacts business in other ways. And there's a growing movement for people to want value. They want demonstrable value, not only in the products that they use, but in the perception and the gedrag, the behavior of the company.
Exactly.
Not just the
behavior. To be I don't say sustainable or some human values. This generation is more about human values than what the product himself can offer.
Exactly.
And this COVID-19 and just make people think more about their well-being.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
How they feel more. That's what can I get for this?
Yeah.
So the companies need to be smart to go to not just business, but social responsibility. How your product is social responsible, how impacting the life of the other people, and how you measure that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's the point. So what is important for people first, right? So then if you know that, and again, this research needs to be done. No one can guess.
Yeah.
But the moment you know what motivates them, what triggers that this type of happiness and well-being, you can start to set up some smart KPIs that connects with your products, and that actually can have a good turnaround in terms of value for your customers. So not a bit, them, and just be smart the way you measure and track things.
Do you have any experience with this in yourself? Or is it just theory, more niche?
I know in terms of social responsible in social media, more and more we try to measure the not the time they spend there, but can be the positive feedback, or can be the time in session they spend, how much positive content they produce or share. It's a lot of things you can measure. You can just have a huge list. What matters is what you want for your business.
Yeah.
Some companies like customer service, definitely the KPIs is the amount of calls, satisfaction score, and this is what drives them. Each company has a purpose.
Yeah.
This is why, and every company needs to be social too.
Yeah.
So you need to find this a way to balance this.
Yeah. I think this is not sponsored or paid for, but I generally don't like WYSIWYG CMSs. WYSIWYG is what you see is what you get. So interfaces where what you see is what you get. But out of necessity, I started building design and focus on WIX, and it's not you have to pay for it, but it's not such a high cost of a product. And I must say, like, shout out to Wix. Their customer experience is amazing. I've bumped them several times with issues, and every time I walk away happy as a...
The head of design, I have the pleasure to be in Amsterdam for one event for UX, and head of the weeks of design. They are smart.
Yeah.
The way it's a simple tool.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The question is, how many interviews they did to the users?
Yeah.
How many data they collected, right?
Yeah.
And how many time they spent to analyze that data and understand that patterns.
Yeah.
And then they took smart decisions.
Yeah. Well, it's not just, the data, it's ongoing data. They're always asking, is there anything that we need to improve on? And they're all, when they find something, I've suggested some things, for example, and then they get in contact with HQ and they talk to their service designer and they say, oh, this is a little bit annoying. They at least forward it, and those people at HQ do use this info. And I think that there's where the difference comes in.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a simple product. It's not as extensive as other CMSs, but the service is just outstanding.
I always tell I work in the customer service, taking speak with the users in some part of my life, but also the other digital way to create a self-service portal or digital for people to use.
Mm-hmm.
And this clear, as much time you let them find the answer and be happy how they do it, and show everything they need to make communication and learn with them, you make them happy. You don't want to open a shop that doesn't have any place to go if any problem happen, right? So that is what you need to think always. Collect data, but give a way to communicate, to share their feelings, and you listen them, and then you actually execute with the smart choices.
That's quite contrary to what's actually happening with a lot of digital products, right?
Product needs,
unsubscribe, can't find it, cancel, nowhere to be seen.
Product needs versus business needs. That is where that's balance needs to be done. This is why the role of KPIs is actually make that balance. Because you can't win if the business wants that needs and the user wants the needs. Is a relationship here. Something needs to in the middle to say, stop, guys. This is where we need to go. This is the numbers. So let's just look at the numbers. Let's take a decision, and then let's make something that works for both parts.
Exactly.
It's like a relationship. So you really need to be take it seriously. Really take it seriously.
Well, for me, business is more, I would relate it more to symbiotic ecosystems, while as, the dark design and dark UX type of driven businesses, they're more like parasites. It's not really business. If a conman comes to you and he swindles you out of your money, you go to the police, you have him locked up. And many of our businesses today need to be locked up. It's terrible. But coming back to those KPIs and the movement with the younger generations, I had a conversation with Trina Falbe, and she was talking about setting different KPIs. Do you have any thoughts on that?
To set up the different KPIs.
I'm sorry, I'm just bringing it on you.
No, set up different KPIs. It's business. Each business has really different needs. You can just build so many KPIs for different companies. I really need to listen them. Can go to a simple dashboard of 3 or 5 KPIs in the moment. That can go to a complex one of 30.
Wow.
Really depends. What is important today doesn't mean it's important in 1 month. So you really, as you say, the nursery periods is when you do that, all the process using the ROKS, for example, to go from the engagement to set up everything, to generate that long listing and short listing and define them. Do that prototype of the dashboards. Use a language that people can read. Can use international business communication standards just to keep the language and people can read the graphs, and you have all the information there. But then when you go live, it's why you need to keep that nursery periods. So this is the people responsible to set up the KPIs, but also this is the people, they need to maintain them. So you need to educate the stakeholders. Why is it important to keep doing this, right? What types of meetings you want to have to analyze the data and understand the issues and add some solutions for that. So you need to keep doing it.
You've worked at quite a few established organizations. And, my question is, the difference between the companies that make it and the companies that don't, because companies are started every day and they just, they come and go. The companies who solidify themselves, I would say they stand the test of time in that they're always performing no matter which generation exists while they do. Does KPIs sort of help you achieve that?
Yes. If they have the right attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's be honest. I have clients that actually they have that we want to find KPIs and they are engaged.
Mm-hmm.
I have another clients that have a lot of KPIs already, and from that KPIs you can definitely cut off of them because it's there, but it's not add value.
Yeah.
And then I have another client that we actually define something useful.
Yeah.
But you need to adapt.
Yeah.
I think each business has its own identity and their own objectives and their own way of looking at things.
Yeah.
Each stakeholder is also stakeholders are challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So to make them perceive the value, you really need to understand very well. So I think the advice I give is just look at all the company you are working, see how engaged they are, know them, understand what is the level of the stakeholders, what is the secondary, primary, then put the right people in the meeting, explain the process, make them aware why you are there, what you want to achieve with them, make them understand, and then jump and define. But that is crucial. Yeah. So without that, you can define them, but you're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. Although because of the variability of the business needs, I guess creating a scientific method for KPIs might be a challenge because of those variations. But are there some tested and proven methods and techniques that will always win, no matter what you do?
You have ROKS. You have a lot of techniques. You need to adapt.
Oh, okay.
It's really that. You can do 7-step process. Yeah. As you can do just 2. Yeah. Depending of the maturity, depending what the situation is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a simple jump in 2 steps to go to the third and do the long list and short list already fix a lot of the problems. Yeah. You already them engaged, so you don't need to do it. Yeah. So you need to analyze situation. I think looking at the ROKS and techniques I used, you can just you can go to define what is in the sales company, what is the system of as you say, forgetting the words. It's not revenue. Your team has results. Yes. So you need to define the results for your team. So you need to find a KPI system that tracks that records for your team. Mm-hmm. And we have a technique that finds that. Yeah. Yeah. And is mixing some psychology approach with a KPI. All right. So you need to analyze, okay, looking at overall team, looking at overall KPIs to define and based on outcomes we want to achieve and results. Mm-hmm. We have this map of different behaviors, and based on this map of different behaviors, we're gonna make analyze. We're gonna just put everything in the right framework, and from there we're gonna make a black test or white test just to test and see errors and see if these actually correspond to reality. And then I will define like a system, an outcome system that will match the KPIs and the team. So we know when we define these KPIs, that is the right way to go. Yeah. Based on behavior from the manager X or the team X. So you go more than KPIs go also into behavior. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the UX part of it, exactly, right? Is the mixing of behavior approach to KPIs and just mix these in a system, like a system that define a framework to define not just KPIs but also the outcome. Yeah. Is this true for all KPIs or only UX KPIs? Not for all of them. Some particular industries works better. Yeah. Others not. You just need to analyze. I was thinking measured impossible, which is another technique. Also learned with Bernie Smith, which is the guy who created the ROKS, and it's incredible. It's come from someone did have a Nobel Prize and the Italian scientist and just create a formula, impossible formula, then you just want to have a result. So you go with assumptions and hypotheses, you make a bunch of calculations, and then you're going to have a specific result that doesn't match completely that final result, but is so near, then almost you guess. But depends. Again, you have different clients at different needs. You just need to go to your catalog, as you call, and look at the catalog. Okay, this is what I use now. Or this is the step I will use because this client is in this specific situation. So you really need to analyze well.
All right. Well, I think our time is about running out. So could you maybe give us a very quick summary and then we'll end the session?
Of course. So summary. When you start to KPIs, know the project you're doing, know very well the people is involved. Select the right people to be with you. Know what they did in advance, they did before, with all the documentation. You'll be surprised what you already have. So you save lots of time for you. Be strategic to way you set up the technique. And you don't need to do everything. You probably can just jump steps depending on situation. And be patient and think this is a start, because then you need to manage after set up KPI, and be pragmatic. Good communication is really important. So and be brave, because it's not going to be easy. It's going to be more complicated. But if you like what you do, and just imagine you are creating something unique for the company you're working on project. So take that in mind. Just go for it.
It's definitely a greater success to actually solve problems than to just talk about solving problems, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much, Ricardo. And we'll be talking next week again. And for everybody who joined us today, thank you for listening, and please join us again. If you've enjoyed listening to this session, please subscribe to us and follow us on social media. Visit designinfocus.org for more information and content. Design in Focus is a labor of love and can use any and all support. If you'd like to help keep us alive, please consider making a small donation.